So good evening and welcome. And this is like live TV in the 1950s. So thank you for your patience. Um, this program is honoring our brewers of the county, and we're very excited to celebrate Carroll County Beer Week, hosted by Carroll County Public Library and sponsored by Union Mills Homestead. I'm Dorothy Stoltz, Director for Community Engagement with the Carroll County Library, and we have with us tonight Amber Farron, who is our Communications Specialist, and she's our production behind the scenes person and problem solver extraordinaire. So she was able to fix our technical difficulties, and she and I will be monitoring the Q&A. And so if you're joining us by Zoom, if you look at the bottom of your screen, you'll be able to see a symbol that says Q&A. Type in your question there, type in your comment there. If you're joining us by Facebook, please use the chat. And we will get to as many questions and comments as we can. This is recorded live. We will be posting it to YouTube tomorrow, the library's YouTube, so you can watch it again. You can also perhaps share it with others as well. That would be great. So before I introduce Sam, I would like to, let me see here. Let me get my video back on here. Here we go. There we go. I would like to introduce Sam, but before I do so, I would like to list the brewers that are joining us this evening. And from Pub Dog, we have George Humbert. Jay Lampert, unfortunately, is not able to join us from Johansson's, but we love Johansson's. Jesse Johnson is with us tonight from Brewery Fire. Zach Rissmiller from 1623 Brewing Company. Keith Waybright from Flood Zone Brewery. And from Pipe the Side Brewing Company, we have Tim Eccles Sr. and Carol Gorsuch. And so now I'd like to introduce Sam. And Sam is a great library friend and partner. He's president of Union Mills Homestead. His day job is to practice law, but he has a reputation as being very knowledgeable and also just loving history. And he has numerous history articles published, as well as being a frequent speaker on history topics. So let's welcome Sam Riley.
Thank you, Dorothy. It's very kind. And welcome everyone to this online event. I'd like to thank the Carroll County Public Library for putting this Brewers Talk together. As everything in 2020 is challenging, we're doing the best we can with our technology, and we're so grateful for the library for assisting us and making this all happen. So on behalf of the Union Mills Homestead, I want you to know how much we missed all of you this past Saturday with the cancellation of the Maryland Microbrewery Festival. I know this online event might be a meager substitution for the beer festival and the Carroll County Beer Week, but I think we'll have some fun and it will help keep the spirit alive for next year. At Union Mills, we're pleased to operate Carroll County's only working grist mill, which of course is but one of the many mills that used to exist in Carroll County. I like to tell folks that in times gone by, we had as many grist mills here in Carroll County as we now have convenience or grocery stores. In other words, lots. And not only did grist mills grind grains into flour for local residents to make bread to eat, but mills also ground grains that were used for making beer and distilled spirits. So that's the history that ties the grist mill to Beer Week. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our moderator for this evening, Tony Eckert. Tony is the Director of Finance for the Carroll County Public Library, a longtime committee chair and member of Celebrating America. It's an initiative here in Carroll County. And most importantly for this evening, he's a big fan of craft beer. So Take it away, Tony.
Thanks, Sam, and good evening, everyone. And again, thank you for your patience. Welcome to the 2020 recognition of Carroll County Beer Week. I'm Tony Eckert of Carroll County Public Library. What, you might ask, is the library's connection to Carroll Beer Week? Well, there's some obvious ones. There's our collection of digital and physical materials where we amply cover beer and home brewing. So check out the library. But the connection's a little deeper than that. 5 years ago, the library opened the first Carroll County Beer Week at Maggie's with an author presentation about the history of Baltimore beer. And that night kicked off a week of activities around the county. It was a lot of fun. And we've done that every year since then. This evening's program is, we include 5 local brewers, and we're happy to have them participate. Very honored for them to be there. And I know most have turned on your cameras, but if you'll just give us all a wave. George Humpert from Pub Dog, Jesse Johnson from Brewery Fire, Zach Rissmiller from 1623, Keith Wabright from Flood Zone Brewery, and last but not least, Tim Eccles and Carol Gorsuch from Pipe the Side. So welcome. We're very, very happy to have you here. This is the 6th annual Carroll County Beer Week event. Our guest speakers this evening have added and are adding new chapters to the history of beer in what I think is the land of pleasant living. Not an overused phrase. We're very fortunate to be here, have a rich beer history. Tonight we can enjoy conversations with neighbors who are both brewers and entrepreneurs. I will ask our audience to always enjoy your local beer responsibly. And with that, I'm going to ask each of our brewers to tell us just a little about themselves. And George, if we may, let's begin with you.
Thanks, Tony. It's a pleasure to be here tonight, virtually. Yeah, I'm George Humbert. I'm the brewmaster and president of Pub Dog Brewing Company. We've been in Carroll County operating since 2006. We opened a tap room approximately in 2017 that you can come visit us. We're located at 1203 New Windsor Road in Westminster, Maryland, sort of midway between McDaniel College and the town of New Windsor.
Very good. Thank you, George. Jesse, we'll move to you and up near Big Pipe Creek.
Hey guys, I'm Jesse. I am one of the owners, and I am the brewer at Brewery Fire in Tawnytown, Maryland. We just had our 1-year anniversary on Saturday. We're in Tawnytown, Maryland, like I said, and the easiest way to find us is, you know where the bowling alley is? We're right behind it, and I'm really happy to be here tonight. So thanks for having us.
Thanks, Jesse. We're going to go a few miles away. Zach, how many miles is it?
1,623 miles to be specific. So yeah, I'm Zach. I'm from 1623 Brewing. I'm really glad to be here today. We're right there in Eldersburg. If you know where the Basta Pasta is, we're there. I don't know too many roads out there as I live in Colorado, but yeah, it's we're a rather large venue, and we're really happy to have people back in our tap room.
Great, thanks, Zach. Now we're going to go to just on the side of Little Pipe Creek and go over and visit Keith. Keith, welcome this evening. Keith, you are on mute.
Okay, Tony, thank you, Tony and Dorothy and Sam for putting this all together. I'm Keith Wabright. I'm the brewer here at Flood Zone Brewery. We are right next to Little Pipe Creek in Union Bridge, Maryland. And yeah, we opened February 29th, open 11 days before we shut down. We're coming back strong though.
Wonderful news, wonderful news. Thank you. And then want to turn it over to a brewery that's not open yet. Tim and Carroll, tell us a little about yourselves.
Hey, Tony, I was having trouble. I was trying to get off mute there. So I'm Tim Eccles. This is Carroll Gorsuch. We are 100% of the ownership of Right Beside Brewing in Hampstead. We've been at this idea for about 2.5, 3 years now. And we're in the Roberts Field Shopping Center in Hampstead, and hopefully opening our doors, whatever that means in the COVID environment, towards the end of October.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I'm going to start us off with a couple questions, and then our audience, you're welcome to include yourselves in the Q&A, but both by Facebook or by Zoom. But I want to start off, and we'll blame this on Zach, because Zach made an important point. The library too is all about stories, and I hope each of you can share maybe a favorite story of yours about beer. Zach, I'm going to start with you. You don't have to use the story that you told me. You might have even a better one, but we'll start off with you.
So I guess my favorite story comes from the style porter. So porter was basically a kid in England that would move suitcases from a train to a carriage, and if it didn't fit on the carriage, they would run behind the carriage to wherever it was going. They needed a high carbohydrate, safe to drink beverage. So porter was made, originally brown was made to, so when you drink porter, that's a kid's drink. And so as they grew older, we started getting things like robust porter, and we got things like stout porter, and just because the porters wanted a little bit more roast as they grew up. So that's kind of the story of where stout came from and where porter came from, as those are kids' drinks.
Thank you. Jesse, what good beer story do you have from your experiences?
Most of my experiences are very inappropriate, and since this is a family show, I will not share those.
Okay.
Kind of along with Zach, I really enjoy history, and growing up, was my father's been a minister all of his life, and I grew up in a Christian family and Christian school and everything, and as I got older, growing up, there was always a stigma attached to alcohol, like if you drink a beer, you're going to hell. And as I got older and started learning more about the world, I've always thought it's kind of funny that if it wasn't for kind of like what Zach was saying, low ABV beverages, really the world would not exist. So I don't know, I've always kind of enjoyed that as a Christian and a brewer, because there's the kind of clash from what you're raised, but it's like, you might not like it, but if it wasn't for beer, we all want to be here. So that's my 2 cents.
I think there's a slogan in there somewhere. If it weren't for beer, we wouldn't be here. George, you have a great story?
Yeah, so this is my favorite beer season of the year, fall beers. I really sort of fell in love with fall beers. I took a trip to Germany and Austria maybe 20, 25 years ago. And we went to this large brewery in Salzburg, Austria, called Augustiner. There's also an Augustiner in Munich. But it was a large place, and they had one beer on tap. They've been brewing this beer, I think, since the 1400s, 1500s. And we got there when it first opened. And probably about 2 or 3 hours later, there were 1,500 people in this beer garden outside. And everybody came for just one beer. And it was a sort of a Märzen lager, amber lager, fest beer. We know it is Oktoberfest here in this country. So I love these, the fall beers that are out right now, Oktoberfest, pumpkin ale, brown ales. You know, we start to get into the nice, you know, amber, medium bodied, just nice, crisp, clean, malty style beers.
Very good, very good. Keith, what's your beer story?
Well, you know, I've only been here for a couple months. They're all good stories. So far, everything's been a good story coming out of this brewery. But I don't want to top Jesse, but my grandpa was an ABC agent, alcoholic beverage control. So you know, he's probably frowning at me right now.
And Tim and Carroll, what story do you have to share?
Yeah, I don't know if we have a great specific story about beer, but before we started doing this, we used to travel a lot, and and we started going to tap rooms in different cities, you know, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, down to Carlisle, down the Eastern Shore, and
even other cities and outside of Carroll County. Baltimore's got some pretty great places you can hang out overnight, get away from your children.
yeah, and we realized like the traditional bar scene wasn't really our scene, so we kind of really fell in love with the brewery and tap room experience. And you know, when we came back home, we realized that, you know, the Hampstead community could really benefit from that, right? So that's what sort of propelled us on this path, is we saw the benefit of the brewery and tap room to other towns, and we thought, you know, Hampstead could really benefit from something like this. So that's not an exciting story about beer, but it's our story.
That's very, very good. And it's really, it makes our county unique. Each of you are different from each other, and it makes it fun to travel to Tawnytown or to Eldersburg or Hampstead or Union Bridge, and that uniqueness, those conversations that you have with your customers, that makes a richness to our life. Sam, I don't want to put you on the spot, but from the Microbrewery Festival, do you have a beer story that is waiting to be told?
Well, yeah, it's funny, as I was listening to all these stories of beer, I mean, everyone has personal stories, but from the Union Mills perspective, what I always remember so fondly, now we didn't do it last year, but every other year, going back, 15 years or so at the Microbrewery Festival, we've had this homebrew contest. And the homebrew contest would be, you know, all the beers would be submitted, and it was just so neat. You know, the public wasn't allowed into where the testing was, but you could, you know, I'd go into the mill there, the grist mill at Union Mills, and watch all these wonderful, and I think many of our panelists here have been on the, you know, testers for the homebrew contest, but to see all these wonderful home brews submitted by these folks who crafted these creations, and they were all lined up in this historic old grist mill being tasted. It was pretty neat to see. And of course, some of those brewers, these home brewers, have now opened breweries of their own.
Great. Next, I'd like to shift the focus really to George sort of got me thinking this way in terms of, you know, what are you working on now? What do you have for folks to enjoy right now at your place? And Keith, if you don't mind, start with you all up at over at Flood Zone.
Well, I got an Oktoberfest coming out in Marzen, traditional Marzen coming out Thursday. And in 2 weeks, I will have a pumpkin bock that went in the fermenter yesterday, and I'm really excited about it. I haven't been able to do a pumpkin in about 2 years. So I'm really excited to bring that back out. And so that's coming in 2 weeks. And then we're looking at winter. And I got a winter ale up my sleeve that I'm really excited about.
Very good. Well, be visiting Union Bridge here shortly. I'm gonna pick on Tim and Carroll. I know you haven't opened, but sort of tell us what's the timeline look like. No pressure.
Yeah, no, we're hoping to start brewing maybe this weekend. We got our initial grain delivery earlier this week.
It fell off the truck.
It fell, 2,000 pounds of grain fell off the lift gate of the truck right onto the ground.
Oh my!
So that was fun.
That's great.
But we're waiting on we're waiting on hops and yeast. For us, everything's new. It's new equipment, it's new water, it's new grain, new space. So every beer is like a snowflake right now for us. They're all different. We're collecting ingredients. We're big fans of using local ingredients and supporting the agriculture. Places like Deep Run Farms, Dively's Fruit Farm, even some of our local
our neighbors randomly growing fruit.
Right. So we've been busy collecting ingredients where we can, and hopefully we'll come out with some beers that people are interested in and they think are as good as we do.
Wonderful. Well, looking forward to your opening. George, what's going on over at Pub Dog that's new and exciting?
So we've got the first of our 2 fall beers released, our Oktoberfest and our Pumpkin Ale. And next week we're going to be tapping a red rye IPA, which is a darker, more rustic sort of tasting IPA. Rye malt has typically kind of a spicy quality to it, so it'll be a nice fall IPA. And after that, we're going to be brewing a Maryland lager, which we got local malts from Dark Cloud down in Cooksville, and hops from Big Truck up in Parkton, Maryland. So we're going to be, this will be not our first Maryland. We've done some fresh hop beers in the past, but this will be a beer that's almost exclusively Maryland ingredients.
Do you find out an extra challenge just using only Maryland ingredients?
The quality is certainly there. There's more limitations to what we can get and the varieties we can get. But otherwise, it's, Maryland is an agricultural state. So there's, great grain and now great hops grown in the state. It's just the industry is sort of relatively new. So, again, variety is sort of the biggest obstacle.
Mm-hmm. Zach, what do you have coming up?
Oh man, so many things. Let me just get my list. I wasn't quite there. All right, so we've got a Baltic Porter with coconut. We've got a smash lager that we do, which is single malt and single hop with Talus hops called Talisman. Berry kettle sour for Thanksgiving, cranberry sauces. We've got a blonde stout with chai in it that we're doing. We're called Dirty Chai. We've got a West Coast IPA, which features Bella and Sabro hops, which we're really, really excited for. And I think the thing that we're most excited for is we're partnering with the Jonathan Ogden Foundation to do a peanut butter and honey milk stout. The honey, because Jonathan Ogden went to UCLA and Bears and Honey, and we're that foundation and the good cause that it comes with, and with Jonathan Ogden going into the Hall of Fame this year, it's a very big honor for us.
Oh, that is very exciting. Jesse, what's going on up at Brewery Fire?
Hey, right now we have a few beers coming out that I'm really excited about. One I'm not super excited about, but we have I brewed the pumpkin ale today. It's one of Dave's old faithful recipes, and he loves pumpkin beer, and I'm not the biggest fan, but give the people what they want. But I'm really excited about what we have. Brown ale coming out with was brewed with maple and graham crackers, so it's a nice, easy drinking fall beer. Also brewing up to kind of coincide with, if you're a Star Wars guy, the Mandalorian's, the second season's coming out at the end of the month. And we did a beer last year called the Mango Lorian, which is a mango heavy IPA. So we're have that brewed so that we can do something to kind of ride the waves of Disney. And we're also, next week, we're doing a collaboration with a new brewery that's coming out, Homemade Brewing Company in Western Maryland. We're doing a milk stout with them with mocha and chocolate and coffee and all that good stuff. And other than that, we started canning this year, so we're always just trying to cycle in the beers that we can. So we'll have our hazy IPA, Short Dead Dude, all of our anniversary beers. We're going to start cycling some of those into the rotation more often. And what I'm really excited about is a very traditional farmhouse ale saison that we had. We did a lot of temperature shifts with it, so we got it up 90 some degrees during the day and got it down 50s at night for a few weeks. So it's got a lot of flavor, a lot of funk, and I'm really excited about that one.
Wow, a lot of creativity going on here, and going to be a great fall in Carroll County if people come out and see you all. I'm going to have to, I haven't been writing down any notes, but just want to give a plug that this will be rebroadcast or available to watch again on the library's YouTube channel. And I'm going to check in with Amber and Dorothy to see if there are any questions from the audience.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Yes. Do you want to go first, Amber?
Sure. We have a question here from Lane Huff. Hi, and thanks. For someone who is getting ready to transition from pre-made extract kits to larger, more homemade recipes, probably extract and eventually grain, what is the biggest thing I could do to make awesome beers?
I can do that.
Zach, help us out.
The biggest thing you can do is pay attention to temperatures. Accuracy breeds consistency. And if you can control the fermentation temperature, do that.
Any other tips from around the
Okay, we have lots of questions from Frank about beer. For the panelists, if someone is new to your brewery, what is a great beer to introduce them to who you are as a brewery?
No, that's a great question. Let's have everybody weigh in on this one. So George, where would you like a new customer to start?
I always try to ask people what they normally like or what's their normal beer. And then I, try to match up with what they tell me. But, most people now, the amount of craft beer available to customers is incredible. So most people are pretty knowledgeable about what they like. When I first got into craft beer, there was Sam Adams, Heineken, Harpoon, and maybe Pete's Wicked Ale, and you didn't have a whole lot of variety. But there's so much variety out there now. But we try to just we'll give anyone a sample, to try before they make a decision, just because we want a person who comes in to enjoy beer to enjoy the beer, and make their selection, you know, just based on what they like. Or sometimes they want to try something new. We get a lot of people who just, every time they come in and say, what do you got new? And they'll try something new just to try it. You know, that's been a big explosion in craft beer is just the variety, you know. It's the sky's the limit on what you can do in beer these days.
Anyone else want to take a shot at that one? Is there anything you wouldn't want a customer to miss from your place?
Hey,
Yeah, over here.
Yeah, Keith?
Okay, so we're in a flood zone. We got a flood theme going on here. So I would introduce customer to either the Creeks Up or the Get Flooded. The Creeks Up is a Irish red, and the Get Flooded is a hazy IPA. It's about 7%. It's brewed with Mosaic and Citra hops, but I want to go back a little bit and talk about a story, if I might, if I can.
Go right ahead.
All right, so when we opened this brewery, we're, you know, in Union Bridge, and I would say probably the first couple months, 80% of the people that came in here were not craft beer people. And I knew that coming in. And there was a couple customers that came in and they got our Flood Zone beer, which is a Pilsner, lager Pilsner. And I came out with the Swamp Monster, the Little Pipe Creek Swamp Monster. And it was a really hoppy, no coast IPA, you know, over 100 IBUs. And these customers tried that beer based on the name. And it was funny because every time they came in, they would always get the Pilsner, and they got a taste of it. And from then on, that's all they drink is the Swamp Monster. So it's really neat to see customers transition into that, you know, next phase. And these particular people went from night and day.
Yeah. Yeah. Jesse, what would you say for someone coming in?
I kind of like what George said. You know, we try to, for someone, you know, new to our place or new to craft beer, you know, it's always good to kind of get a baseline for where they're coming from. You know, just like George, you know, we always offer samples, but we typically have, you know, a classic IPA on tap, a stout, and then maybe something light like a cream ale or a Kolsch, you know, to kind of get that spectrum where people are comfortable. And then, you know, we have some more non-traditional crafty beer to kind of, you know, hook people. So like right now on tap, we have a jalapeno pale ale that's brewed with you know, fresh jalapeno, sea salt, and lime. And, you know, at Brewery Fire, we always give everything a little cheeky name or background. And so, you know, try to give people the basic things and then, you know, have 2 or 3 things on tap to kind of, you know, spark their interest that might, you know, like a not typical beer ingredient, you know, that you might just, you know, have had 5 or 10 years ago. So if that answers the question.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Zach, you have something to share?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I always encourage people that come into our brewery to start at the lightest possible and then move to the darkest possible. And then after that, move into the hoppy stuff. But to be honest, I have a World Beer Cup Gold in German Pilsner, and that bad boy right there, which is silver for German Hefeweizen from the GABF. And I really am very proud of our German beers. And I'm always going to steer people toward our German beers and try to get them into something a little light, little easy drinking. And I mean, I just love, I think it's a liquid resume. If you can make a Pilsner the way a Pilsner should taste, then that says everything about you as a brewery. And I always want to steer people toward that first.
Mm-hmm. Kind of a very traditional approach. Mm-hmm. Cool. Amber?
Well, this is Dorothy. I have a couple of questions coming in through the Q&A for Zoom. And I just want to say that one of the questions is asking about the different kinds of beers you're brewing. So you've done a marvelous job in describing those. But here's a question, and it's coming from Ellen. What determines the percent of alcohol in the beer?
Well, George, you want to?
I can do it if
Take it, Zach.
Zach, okay. Zach, let's
So what determines the amount of alcohol? So we have a bunch of grains in the tank. Some hot-ish water, right? And that gives us sugar. That sugar gets boiled to become simple and becomes fermentable. The amount of sugar that's in that, minus what the yeast eat, because they're going to put off a certain amount of alcohol, and that gives us the basic idea of how much alcohol is in a product. And if that was too complicated, then there's an amount of sugar, the yeast will eat that, produce alcohol, and then we know how much alcohol we have.
Okay.
Excellent. You ready for, Amber, do you have another question? I have two more here.
Okay. Frank about beer has lots of questions. Frank asks, what makes your beer and tap room unique?
Let's let our new folks over at Pipe Decide tell us what's unique about your place.
Everything. It's tiny, so it's very different from a lot of the other places. Like super tiny, like 25 people once COVID regulations are gone tiny. So it's really like if a coffee shop and a bar had a baby with like the local farmers market ingredients, this is what you get over here. And there's records.
Filled with stuff from a thrift shop.
Yes.
Wow.
There's
Tony doesn't like it already. Tony's not coming.
There's very little new to our space. So you know, our tables are made out of reclaimed hardwood doors. Our seating is all reclaimed. You know, a lot of our drink rail stools are actually old C&P wire operator chairs, which go back to the 40s. So you know, we've acquired some really cool things, requiring a lot of driving around, mostly up in Pennsylvania. But we've really acquired some cool stuff to fill the space with things that are unique and different, right? You're not gonna find a lot of bright, shiny new stuff in here, but it's definitely it'll definitely feel.
It'll be clean.
Yeah, inviting is a good way to put it, I think. Like home.
Yeah, and it's different. It's different ends of the spectrum. You know, like we have Jerry Garcia on the wall, and we've got Biggie Smalls. So you really can't. You really, if you can't find something within that range that appeals to you, then I don't know. Maybe you don't belong here. So we tried to incorporate as much as we could,
Very,
and as local as we could.
Eclectic. And Jesse, I'm going to turn to you because I heard some themes there that made me think of Brewery Fire with some of your furnishings, and of course your cool naming techniques. So what makes you all unique up there?
Well, I think one thing that really makes Dave and I unique is that we had no money, and everything we did is a little honky tonk when it came down to it. But what we couldn't or didn't make up for, and fancy things, we got local artists to come in, and so we do not pay for any of the artwork we have on the wall. And it's not that we're that cheap, but it gives the artist an opportunity to sell his work. And pre-COVID, it was very successful because we had people coming in, and the artists that we use currently you know, he was selling 4 or 5 paintings, you know, a week just about on a good week. And so, you know, he couldn't keep up with the demand for a while. So I think that's one thing that, you know, makes us unique in that aspect. In addition, like the tables we have, our friend Jason Dawson makes them, and he has a wood shop, and, you know, our tables are for sale. So again, you know, Dave and I, you know, we couldn't afford these beautiful tables, but, you know, basically our buddy said, all right, I'll give these to you. And then when you sell them, I'll replace them. And so that's been very successful too. But, you know, I think, you know, everybody on here, I think, has a very unique brewery, which I think's what makes Carroll County and just breweries in general awesome. Is, you know, we're not a chain. You're not going to go and 1623 and get the same feel as you would go to, well, anybody else. So, you know, you can really see the character of the brewery, the brewers, and I think it kind of keeps it fresh for, you know, people in the county, where they can go to, you know, 5 or 6 places at this point and get different beer, different experience. But I think, you know, wherever you go in the county, you're going to be welcome, and you're going to be able to talk to the brewer, talk to an owner. And I think really right now that's where people really enjoy that experience. It's not just going to, you know, to Ruby Tuesdays or something like that, where it's just generic. You know, I think all of Carroll County are very authentic.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jesse, 100%. And I'm going to turn it over to George. I know when I visited, I've always felt very, very comfortable in your establishment. And you know, and it's sort of, I don't know, I feel it. So what have you done to sort of accomplish that, or is that just the way it happened?
Well, thanks, Tony. Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, we always set out to be just a, you know, a friendly, you know, tap room brewery. We started out in Baltimore in 2001. And we always just wanted to be like coming in, you're coming home to your living room, and, you know, good beer, good conversation. We have a beer garden, dog-friendly beer garden at the tap room. You know, we serve our beers in pairs, and you know, we're all just about great beer, great service, and heckling the brewer during the week before 6 o'clock. I'm available.
Nice to heckle the brewer. Do you get any heckling over there in Union Bridge, Keith?
Yeah, probably a little.
No.
Our brewery is unique. That it's kind of like a shopping center. So we have a marketplace that they have fresh produce and home goods and that, and then we have crafts, and then we also have food here. We have a full kitchen, and not to mention a large beer garden nestled right along the creek, you know, and that's kind of the gist of the flood zone here.
Very good. Again, uniqueness. I think that's, I go back to what Jesse said about, and I know he wasn't disparaging Ruby Tuesday, but you know, what makes Westminster or Tawnytown different from Hanover or Gettysburg or any other place if we all have a Walmart and other things. I mean, there's nothing unique about them, but you all have brought back this uniqueness, which makes our community special. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. Growing up in a small family business, these were special times, and we closed our business, and others that were like us, they closed. And you feel like, well, the community lost something that was part of its identity. And you all are bringing that back in such a wonderful way to make make Carroll County a special place. Let's see, did I miss anyone on that question?
That'd be me.
Oh, Zach, yes, thank you.
So we're very proud to be from the Berg. We are absolutely born and raised there. We are just happy as hell to be there. And I would say that we have so many unique finishes in our tap room, from the brick. The brick kind of is a throw to how downtown in Denver looks, to the wood, to reclaimed barn wood that's up on that's up. We try to throw as much as we possibly could in finishes as like ties to what we're proud of and what we're proud to be from. And yeah, I mean, Eldersburg has been so good to us. We're just happy to be there, and you will see that our space is very unique in the fact that we're very large as far as our tap room is concerned. In non-COVID times and before times, we have 265 capacity in our tap room. So it's a space for the entire community to gather, and we hope they.
Very good, very good. While we're on, I do have other questions, but I'd like to keep on with the questions from the audience. Dorothy?
Yeah. See, at what point did you realize that you were ready to go from home brewing to the next level?
Wow. Let's let our new brewery answer that one first.
Oh, hey, so yeah, you know,
We're not going to have the same answer.
yeah, I don't know how we ended up where we are. I think
We just do it.
Yeah, we just made the leap. You know, we were home brewing. We quickly upgraded equipment. You know, we added a glycol chiller at home. We started, doing yeast starters and just doing, process improvements. And then we started feeling comfortable enough to let people sample our beer. And then the next thing you know, we were all in.
Everything to farmers markets.
Yeah, it was.
Kids are helping us wheel stuff around.
Yeah, it's just the getting your beer out to people, friends. Even, we would give beer to people that we knew were overly critical for samples. So we knew we'd get honest feedback. And I think that, taking your home brew and having people give you feedback, and then just having some confidence, maybe being partially crazy, you dive right in. I don't know if that answers or not, but
That's a very
that's kind of how we ended here.
very good answer. Jesse, your roots are with homebrew, are they not?
Yeah. I started home brewing. I was probably 7 or 8 years ago. I mean, for me, I was basically, went through the ranks in college, got my master's degree, and, was working professional. And I was just really dissatisfied with, my life. And my wife and I, we were transitioning homes, and I was laying on the couch, and she's like, well, what do you want to do? Like, what do you love? I'm like, I like drinking beer. And, she's just like, well, start a brewery with Dave. And I'm like, okay. And so, I mean, for me, it was really just not that I'm old, I'm 38 years old now, but I was like, if I'm going to do anything really stupid in my life, now's the time to do it. Like, I get one more mistake, I think. So that's kind of how I took it's not that I thought my beer was better. It was just, I saw an opportunity, and, I took it.
I got to be honest, that's the greatest answer I've heard on somebody opening a brewery.
Yeah, I like that too. That's great. George, what would you have to say about that, about home brewing?
Yeah, I started out home brewing. I got I was lucky enough to be going to school in Boston when Sam Adams and Harpoon had just sort of gotten started. And I lived 1 year around the corner from a craft beer bar. And at the time, in I don't know, it was 1991, 92, there weren't that many. But I got exposed, to craft beer. And then one day I came back to Maryland after graduating, and I called up a buddy of mine one day and just said, "Hey, what are you doing today?" And he said, "I'm making a batch of beer in my kitchen." And I said, "Excuse me?" And I said, "I'm coming right over. I got to see this." So I went over and we made a batch of beer, and we were so anxious. I think we tried it like 10 days later, 12 days later, and it didn't taste very good, but I was really intrigued. It was, I think, an English brown ale. We bought a kit beer. And I said, "Oh, this is all right, but I want to try something different, and we'll try it again." And I went out and bought a book, Charlie Papazian's The Complete Joy of Homebrewing, and, read it. And then we brewed another beer, and I was like, man, this got a little bit better the second time. So, after about 3 years, I got lucky enough to, that same friend got involved in a brew pub project down in Gaithersburg, Maryland. And I kind of got my foot in the door. And same thing with, just like Jesse. I mean, I was a little bit younger, but I said, you know what? I love doing this, and I'm going to take a chance, because why not? I mean, it sure beats a real job. So, that was it. That was my start 25 years ago.
Very good. Well, I'm among the people with maybe with a real job, but I'm envious of what you all are able to do. Keith, did you have a home brewing background?
Yes, and to answer the question, I was in the right place at the right time. So many years ago, my wife bought me a home brew kit for Christmas, and I started brewing beer. And she picked up a part-time job at a brewery, and at the time they were having problems with their brewer and this and that. And they said, "Well, you need to come in." She said, "You need to bring some of your beer in and let the management try it." So I did. And they said, "Oh, this is amazing. You need to come in and guest brew with our brewer." And I said, "Sure, yeah, that would be fun. That would be great, And the owner brought it up to the brewer, and the brewer says, "No, I don't want some home brewer coming in here and telling me what to do." So I said, "Fine. Hey, I got enough headaches, 2 weeks later, the owner called me up and said, "Hey," he said, "our brewer's quitting. Would you come in and learn the system to show the next guy, bring a couple recipes?" I became the next guy, and it kind of snowballed from there. But I was in the right place at the right time, and worked out.
Timing is anything. Zach, did you toy with home brewing?
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean, since I was, I don't know, 16. So been doing it for a while. Worked in a homebrew shop as well, here in Colorado at Dry Dock Brewing, called the Brew Hut. It's pretty consistently in the top like 2 or 3 like homebrew shops in the nation, which was it was an incredible opportunity for me to just even be involved in, first of all. But it got my foot in the door in a bunch of different places, and I love the fact that people homebrew, they want to know more about what we do, and I try to help as much as I possibly can with as many different homebrewers as I can. As many recipes as we have, we'll put them out for any homebrewer that asks. And if there's any homebrewers out there and you want one of our recipes, let's do that. Let's get it in your hands. And
I'll interject real quick that Zach will also help other professional brewers, and so will George. So, they extend their knowledge beyond the homebrew community. So
For us, there's really no secret to what we do. I think that pretty much everybody here will agree with that. There's no secret. What we do is pretty cool. So if other people want to do it, we want to help you get there. Making beer better is better for all of us. So.
Well, that's another one of the qualities in this being the 6th year of Carroll County Beer Week, when we've had the events and George goes back to Beer Week #1 at Maggie's, and the conversations that we've had, and then as the group has enlarged to this and even a few that aren't here tonight to join with us. What has always impressed me is how collaborative you all are, how you're interested in your craft and in improving each other and yourself, and that's a wonderful philosophy of life. So I applaud you all. Amber and Dorothy, are there any other questions? We're probably coming up on about closing time for this event, but if there's some good questions out there, we'll maybe take 1 or 2 more.
I have a good final question.
Okay.
Before you start, I'd be willing to answer anybody's question that doesn't get answered here. Zach at 1623brewing.com. If you didn't get answered and you want to send it to me, do it.
Thanks, Zach. Amber?
Okay. Let's see here. Our final question, a good finishing question is, who or what would be your dream collaboration?
Wow. That is a good question. Let's start with you, Zach. Dream collaboration.
Oh, come on. You got to start with me.
Yeah.
Damn. To give the politically correct answer, every single Carroll County brewery doing one collaboration for distribution release would be it. Secondarily, to do a collaboration with every brewery under Canarchy, that would be my dream collaboration.
All right. George, I know you've done numerous collaborations. What's your ultimate collaboration?
Well, I would say for me it would be Charlie Papazian, who's the sort of godfather of home brewing. I mean, he was really the one that got me started and on the track of brewing beer, and he recently retired, I think, from the Brewers Association, but he's still brewing. He's out in Colorado. He still makes beer all the time. So that would be my dream collaboration.
Tim and Carroll, what would you do for your collaboration?
Yeah,
we're expecting to hear about it next year this time.
I think we'd we would like to maybe do a collaboration with like a famous chef or a baker, right? Or somebody who's got, some experience with
Flavors
non-beer
in a different
ingredients,
way,
right?
yeah.
And blending different flavors, and can give us a kind of some different perspective, because that's what we try to do. So it'd be cool to get that input, and also with other, we kind of, I've reached out to some other local businesses about doing not really collaborations, but brew days, if you will, and having people that aren't necessarily in the beer industry coming in and, sitting around and helping with the brew day and, talking about beer and ingredients and the process and stuff like that. So.
Well, that's very cool. Keith, tell us about your collaboration.
Well, I've been wanting to do a collaboration since I got here, especially with Jesse, but I just haven't had the time. But I like Zach's idea, and I think that we all need to get together and do one for next year and have it at the beer festival at you know, for next year. We'll do a Carroll County beer. I love that idea, Zach. That's awesome.
That is cool. Jesse, you get the final word here.
Now I don't know any of the brewers' names up there. I'm not that geeky into it. But my favorite brewery is Maine Beer Company up in Maine, and if I could go up there and collab with them, that would be probably my dream, because I think they make the cleanest beer out there. You know, they don't do anything crazy, like, you know, add in like weird fruit and candy. You know, everything's just like, in my opinion, like perfect examples of the style. You know, their water chemistry, I think, is out of this world, and you know, everything they do is just like, I think, a perfect example of that style. So Maine Brewing Company will be mine.
And you are not joking about that. They are the cleanest brewery in the United States.
Wow. Well, this has been a lot of fun for me. I really enjoy talking with you brewers, a very, very interesting group that you are. So thank you, each and every one of you, for giving up your time this evening and being here with us. I want to thank our audience out there for tuning in, and hope we've enlightened your beer enjoying experiences. I also would like to thank Amber and Dorothy for their behind the scenes work. I know they had some challenges this evening, but you know, what else would happen in 2020, right? Sam, I want to thank you for being our sponsor. Do want to give an extra special thank you to Dorothy. She really did a lot of the behind the scenes putting this together, which we really felt was important. The Carroll County Beer Week is a neat time. Geez, it's Jesse's anniversary time for Brewery Fire. That we want to keep our momentum going, and so we're happy at the library to be a part of this kind of community discussion and development. So with that said, I'd like to turn it back over to Dorothy for a few important final announcements.
I think the most important announcement is, Tony, you owe me a beer.
At one at each of the breweries. How about?
That's right. That's right. That sounds great. Well, we just want to thank everyone for coming. I'm going to go ahead and put all the share the screen one more time so that we can see everyone's wonderful logos and addresses and web addresses. So please visit your local brewery, and thank you so much for attending tonight. Thanks again.
Thanks, everybody. It was fun.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.